All right. Things come in waves, but it's better for me to just record these and then put them out piecemeal. That way, I don't oversaturate the market, as I like to say. But so I'm one of the critiques of this book that I'm reading about Malcolm X, A Life of Reinvention, is that Mumia, and that free Mumia, of course, the gentleman who's been in jail for 40 or 50 years, I'm not sure, but it said basically that this book minimized the use of COINTELPRO against Malcolm X. Now I would kind of disagree with that, because if you do read about it, I mean, yeah, they said basically after he wrote letters where he said that Malcolm X was willing to join the Japanese army, um, that because of that, the FBI started to follow him, and they started to have recruits and everything else within the Nation of Islam to report back to the FBI. And I mean, I guess you could kind of make that argument that, like I say, I've only read through, you know, almost 200 pages of this, and to me, it doesn't really give that impression. But the thing is, though, it speaks to a larger question. In this book as well, it talks about how the Nation of Islam recorded many of Malcolm X's speeches to be sent back to Chicago so that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and others can listen to it, so that he didn't steer away from the black separatist line. And also, of course, there were informants that told Elijah Muhammad, and of course, people were beaten up, for smoking cigarettes and everything else. I'm sure the companion, or the book that was written um, to go against what Mr. Marable wrote about, um, would be enlightening, I'm sure. I don't know. I'll have to read it, and maybe I'll get a better idea. But I just feel like it's just somewhat limiting, in my opinion. But I don't know. The thing is, I'll get to the point. The point is this: is that even in the discussion, with the Nation of Islam, and more specifically the Fruit of Islam, ruthlessly putting people down. Of course, Malcolm X saying that, he was going to weigh people in, this and that. There's always going to be some sort of police force, in my opinion. So I mean, this whole idea, like I said, it's just such a ridiculous idea. It's like, okay, you hate the current movement of the. I mean, you hate the current implementation of the police as they are today. Okay, because they support capital and they support businesses and everything else. Okay, I'll acknowledge that. The thing is, though, there was the KGB. They had the local militias and everything else. So these aren't going to go away. So that's part of the problem of when you hear defund the police. It's like, okay, what are you going to put in their place, right? I maybe my liberalism is showing or whatever, because I do realize that this book by Manning Marable as well. Manning Marable was part of the DSA until 1985. So I do, like I say, that does kind of put a ding in his reputation. All right. But I'm still going to read through the book and get some idea of it. I have a feeling, though, the main part of it is the idea that Malcolm X was a bisexual is really going to be kind of the main gist of this whole thing. Because a white dude, like a 70-year-old white dude, came to bail out Malcolm X, or Malcolm Little as he was known. Anyway, but the thing is, though, police will always exist in human societies. I can't speak for anything else, but yeah, they will always exist in some form. So, I mean, it's nonsense to be like, yeah, COINTELPRO is bad. The thing is, you would do the same to white supremacists if you had the chance. You think you wouldn't want to have that? Don't lie to me. At least that's my opinion anyway. I mean, this is the whole notion that a lot of folks try to give between black nationalism and white nationalism. That, is that, the idea that Kemet was peaceful and we don't want to invade other countries, isn't that? We don't do such things. This is something that Tariq Nasheed does as well. Oh, we don't invade. We don't want those things. I just don't believe that. I really don't believe that. And maybe this is a bit liberal to say it this way, but I don't believe that you can have a society that doesn't have police at all, or to have any sort of surveillance of people that you don't like. That's nonsense. That's bullshit to me. I'll just tell you right off the bat, that's bullshit. You're always going to have that, It just depends on their training and their implementation. That's the whole idea of the police, right? Is to implement them the way you want them to be implemented. That's the whole idea of it, right? And nowadays, we, like I say, there was a time when there was, community watches, this and that, and that's still obviously a thing. It's probably more lip service today and doesn't really work the same way it used to, but I haven't seen that applied or implied by modern day, these modern day lefties. I haven't seen it. Maybe you can correct me where I'm wrong. I just don't see it. They just talk about defunding the police and how it's awful that black folks get killed. Yeah, true. But what are you going to replace them with? They don't say. They just say defund the police. You don't want. Like I say, I can understand the concern, for example, when they talk about COINTELPRO and having the coloring books and all that, but it's like, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a strong temptation of when the old system leaves and once a new system is put into place, they'll say, we really don't like the police, but golly, there's a lot of shit going on. There's a lot of folks that are undermining us. We may need, a sort of Stasi force or a sort of, NKVD, KGB type of thing, an FBI and a CIA. CIA. We kind of need those things. As much as people criticize them, it's an implication of, we need them. So this is another reason why maybe that I don't trust, parties that say this type of crap, where it's just like, well, we don't like the CIA, this and that. Okay, fine. Yeah, you don't like the CIA. I can get that. But to say that you aren't going to have your own secret police or your own force that isn't monitoring the rest of the world is nonsense. It's nonsense. I don't believe it. Like I say, and people will maybe disagree with me. This isn't a love of police. No. This isn't a love of the current incarnation of police. I finally got that word. There you go. I don't support the police, but the thing is, though, the idea that you're going to get rid of the police as we know it can be possible. All right, but to say you're going to get rid of police as an institution is nonsense. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to do that. And if you do, it's going to be temporary. That's the real truth of it. It's going to be a temporary sort of, okay, actually now we do need police. That's the whole idea, And you can say, oh, well, the police were started because of, they're originally slave catchers, this and that. It's like, okay, yeah. And what are you going to start the police based on? You're going to have your own force too. You're just going to paint it in a different way. Like I said, maybe I'm sounding like a George Orwell type or something. I don't know. But I don't believe this whole nonsense where it's just like, oh, we should feel bad because they talked about the police in such a way. It's just like, or whichever. I don't believe it. There's always going to be a CIA. There's always, or a form of it. It may not be called Central Intelligence Agency, and it may serve a different purpose, but it will still serve the same value, and it will still be providing information to the heads of the government, regardless, or to leadership of the party, or whichever, right? I just, like I said, I really don't get this. Because it's just subterfuge. It's meaningless subterfuge, and it's meaningless lip service to what people want. It's like, we know you don't really give a shit. You just want to remain in power. That's fine. Just admit it, though. That's my opinion anyway. Just admit that's what you want. You want to take power and be able to implement your own system, or you want to be rich, or whichever reason. I don't know. I don't see any reason to try and, give people and just feed people lies, where you say, oh yeah, ACAB, this and that, all cops are bastards, this and that. Under any system as it exists, you're going to have some form of police. Like I say, you can go ahead and cope about it all day. Anyway, I'm just ranting and raving at this point. This is something I did talk about, maybe about a week or two back, maybe more. But I feel like this is a little bit of an explanation, a little bit further exploring of that topic. So I hope y'all agree with that, or, if you don't agree with it, just say, hey, as I always try to say, or at least every video, once every third video or something, I try to say, hey, if you don't like what I have to say, go ahead and type it out. You can go ahead and, type out a few paragraphs. That's all right. I'll read through it slowly. I'm not the best reader, but I'll get there. As long as I can get the gist of it, okay. That's my view anyway. Please type out a long comment and just say, okay, here's why I think you're full of crap. And list those bullet points. And I'll be like, okay, all right. Anywho, I think that's all I have to say on it. You can go ahead and say ACAB all day, but the thing is, are you going to completely get rid of cops in your system? I don't think so. Anyway, that's all I have to say on it. See you later, and a goodbye.